Good morning children, I am Saritha from Sree Gokulam School, Vadakara. Now I am going to teach you the menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle is a series of cyclic changes occur in the female reproductive tract and ovaries to prepare for fertilization and pregnancy. The menstrual cycle is a characteristic feature of primates such as monkeys, apes and human beings. There are 4 different phases or stages in the menstrual cycle. Let's see the different phases of menstrual cycle. There are 4 major phases. The first phase is menstruation phase. And the second phase is follicular phase. And this follicular phase is also known as proliferative phase. Proliferative phase. And the third phase is ovulatory phase. And the fourth phase is luteal phase or secretory phase. These are the 4 major phases in the menstrual cycle. And the ovum release or ovulation occur in the middle of this cycle. As you know, ovulation is the process of releasing of secondary oocyte from the ovaries by the rupturing of Graafian follicle. The remaining Graafian follicle form a yellow body which is known as corpus luteum. Corpus luteum, and it secretes the hormone progesterone. So progesterone is secreted by the corpus luteum, and corpus luteum is a yellow body formed by the remaining part of rupturing Graafian follicle. Ruptured Graafian follicle, remaining part of the ruptured Graafian follicle form a yellow body which is known as corpus luteum. Is it clear about corpus luteum? Now we can see how this corpus luteum is formed. I will show you the video. Here you can see the primordial follicle along with the primary oocyte with a single layer of granulosa cell. Then it undergoes development to form primary follicle with the same single layer of granulosa cell. Then it undergoes development to form zona pellucida along with the 2 layers of granulosa cells. Then it undergoes development to form several layers of granulosa cells and the zona pellucida. Then the theca such as outer theca externa and inner theca interna, and you can see the fluid filled cavity starts to develop. In the mature follicle or Graafian follicle, you can see the fully formed antrum, that is a fluid filled cavity, and this primary oocyte is covered by a cumulus mass of tissue, and it is released by the rupturing of Graafian follicle along with a mass of cells which is known as corona radiata. And the remaining part of the ruptured Graafian follicle form a yellow body which is known as corpus luteum. Corpus luteum starts to degenerate to form corpus albicans. Now you got the idea about the formation of corpus luteum. Now we can see the different phases of menstrual cycle in detail. First we can see the menstruation phase. Menstruation phase. This menstruation phase lasts for 3 to 5 days. So let's see what are the events occur in this phase. As I told you, after ovulation, the ovum reaches to the fallopian tube for fertilization. If fertilization does not occur, the ovum breaks. So at the same time, the corpus luteum starts to degenerate. So due to the degeneration of corpus luteum, there is only less production of progesterone. Let's see the points. So next point is the corpus luteum start to degenerate. And it is followed by the less production of progesterone. Okay, So due to the less production or the decreased amount of this progesterone results in the rupturing of endometrium. That means the endometrium fails to be maintained by the uterus. So the endometrium starts to rupture. Endometrium rupture. So this ruptured endometrium along with the unfertilized ovum and the blood comes out through the vaginal opening as bleeding, and this is menstruation or menstrual flow. So this is the next step, is the menstruation or menses or menstrual flow. So these are the events occur in the menstruation phase. Is it clear? Now we can see the next phase. The next second phase is the follicular phase. The follicular phase is also known as proliferative phase. Here the anterior pituitary gland stimulate and produce gonadotropin. Gonadotropin, GnRH, you know that. So the first step is the formation of GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, which are the GnRH, LH and FSH. LH means luteinizing hormone, FSH is the follicle stimulating hormone. And the second step, this FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, stimulate the growth of follicles. That's why this is the follicular phase. So start the growth of follicle. So this follicle starts to develop and attain maturity. That is a mature follicle. Which is the mature follicle? Graafian follicle. So this Graafian follicle develops. Graafian follicle formed. Okay. And next step is the follicular cells of this Graafian follicle secrete estrogen. Estrogen is secreted by the follicular cells of this Graafian follicle, and this estrogen results in the formation, or we can say this estrogen promote the growth or proliferation of endometrium in the uterus. So endometrium, or we can say proliferate endometrium. Proliferation means growth, endometrium. So the estrogen promotes the growth or proliferation of endometrium. So it occurs in the uterus. Okay. So these are the events occur in the follicular phase or proliferated phase. Now we can see the third phase. The third phase is the ovulatory phase. See, the ovulatory phase means the phase of ovulation. Here, the LH, there is a rapid secretion of LH. LH means luteinizing hormone. This rapid secretion of LH reaches to the maximum level, and that maximum level is known as LH surge. So, LH surge is there. Due to the LH surge, the Graafian follicle gets ruptured. By the rupturing of this Graafian follicle, the ovum or secondary oocyte released out. So the second step is the rupturing of Graafian follicle. Why the Graafian follicle get ruptured? Due to LH surge. What is LH surge? The rapid secretion of LH reached to its maximum level, and that level is known as LH surge, S-U-R-G-E, and that results in the rupturing of Graafian follicle, and here it is followed by ovulation. Okay, and this ovum remains alive or functional for 24 hours only. Is it clear? So these are the events occur in the ovulatory phase, and it is only one day event. It occurs on 14th day of menstruation. Is it clear? It occurs in the 14th day of menstruation and it is only one day event. Okay, now let's see the next event or last phase, that is luteal phase. Luteal phase is also known as secretory phase. It is the phase of formation of corpus luteum. See, the ruptured Graafian follicle form a yellow body which is known as corpus luteum. So in this phase there is a formation of corpus luteum. The formation of corpus luteum. Formation of corpus luteum. And it lasts for 12 to 14 days only. Lasts for 12 to 14 days and this corpus luteum starts to secrete progesterone. So this progesterone inhibits the growth of other follicles. Okay, and these are the events occur in the luteal phase of menstrual cycle. Now we can see the schematic representation of menstrual cycle. Here, this is the uterine events. So in menstrual cycle, there are two events occur simultaneously in the uterus and in the ovary. So the events occur in the ovary, this is known as ovarian events, and the events occur in the uterus, this is known as uterine events. So in uterus, we can see the uterine events is marked by the first one, menstrual flow. The menstrual fluid is there, you can see the menstrual fluid. So then it is followed by follicular phase and then ovulation phase, then it is followed by luteal phase, then get into the next cycle, that is again menstrual cycle. Here you can see ovarian hormone levels. First, ovarian hormone estrogen level is very less in case of menstrual phase, then it goes on increasing, then it reach up to the maximum, then it goes on decreasing. Here the progesterone level in the first phase it is very less, then it goes on increasing, then it goes on decreasing. And now we can see the ovarian events. The primary follicle develop into secondary follicle, then into tertiary follicle, then Graafian follicle get ruptured, then form the corpus luteum, then it get degenerate. Again, the primary follicle starts to develop, then it undergo next phase, that is menstrual phase. So this is a cyclic process repeated. And you can see the pituitary hormone levels here. This is the FSH level. FSH level, increased level in the menstruation time, then it goes on decreasing. But the LH surge we can see at the time of ovulation phase. You can see over here. That's all about the menstrual cycle. Hope you understood everything about menstrual cycle. That's all for today. Thank you.